right now. So thanks for being here, everyone. This is IMB 46, Marketing in the Music Biz. And my name is Melanie from OMIC, and I'm going to hand it over to Mahmousa, who will be your moderator for the day.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the world of the IMB, the independent music business, where you learn from the pros. Today, we're having a special panel about marketing in the music business. I'll be your host for this afternoon, and my name is Mahmousa. I'm the artist and founder of the creative agency Heavy Zeb Lifestyle. We provide music production, marketing, and branding services for artists and businesses. Before I begin, I want to show gratitude to our sponsors at OMIC, the Ottawa Music Industry Coalition, Edwards Creative Law, and Ontario Creates, and of course, the City of Ottawa. It's an honor today to be introducing our panelists for today. We have three empowering women and leaders in this industry. Ginger Bertrand of the Gab Communications, the Gab Group. We have Rachel Sendy of CD by Sendy, and we have Rebecca Dixon of the B-Side Agency. Thank you, ladies, for making it today. I believe women are the backbone of this industry. And like Drake said, they're the curators of what's hot. So who better to talk about marketing than three amazing women? Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Bless.
Thank you.
Was that a good introduction? That was cool.
Loved it.
I love it. We're going to get right into it. We're going to be talking about branding 101. The first topic is branding 101. I think it's so important for artists in this industry to understand that in order to take it to the next level, we need to think as a business. Like Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. So what better way to start it by talking about branding? So we want to talk about the brand Bible. Who would like to start?
Yeah, I mean, I
keep
can.
it open floor.
I'll go ahead. Yeah, so brand Bibles. So for those of you who are not familiar, brand Bibles are basically a multi-page vision board, if you will. And they have a focus on multiple aspects that contribute to your creative presence as an artist, as a creative. So brand Bibles focus on like the type of fonts that you feel represent you, the type of colorways that represent you, the type of fashion, the type of aesthetics, like all the way to like how you would style your room. Like those things as artists, as creatives in general, are very important because that helps you translate your brand through and through to any kind of visual aspect that you create, whether it's like a lyric video, a music video, just any type of content that you're putting out there as that artist or that creative. It helps just to create that consistency throughout whatever it is that you're releasing, so your branding stays consistent.
Yeah, the look, feel, the vibe, the ethos, everything you want to be, kind of lay it out, see it, the vision board, go back to it, repeat it, keep putting it out there, and keep living and eating and breathing that kind of brand Bible that you're establishing for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Rachel, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, for sure. A brand Bible is very similar to creative direction. So approaching it, like Rebecca's saying, with a plan. For me, I do think it's important to have some type of business plan behind your branding or behind your creative direction or art direction. Just because we're in the nature of the digital era, it's really easy to turn things into merchandise, to turn things into products that actually resonate with you as an artist. So I would definitely say like having some type of business plan towards your art direction or creative direction in order to keep it going and flowing steady.
Amazing.
Yeah, and to jump off that, you know, for your business plan, you kind of, and your brand Bible, you want to establish who you are and who you want to be, and you want to establish a personal brand. You want to establish what the story is, what people are going to say about you when you're not in the room. So you need to figure out like what we call in this branding world, a USP, your unique selling proposition. And going back to your business plan and putting it all together is, how do you differ? What is the SWOT analysis and competitive analysis, and your competitors? What are they doing? How do you differ? What's going to make you stand out? Those are all things, and they all kind of feed into that brand Bible and business plan. And there are some great programs out there that allow you to that kind of walk you through building a business plan step by step. And marketing and creative direction, those are portions that go into the business plan. The Futurepreneur, that is a great government resource for business plan building if you want to see kind of what goes into that.
Futurepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Hope everybody's taking notes. Thank you so much for that wealth of information right there. I'd like to bring it to the next point, creative direction. I know having a brand Bible is important for the start, but how important is it for us to have creative direction as artists before we get into the market?
I mean, it's extremely important because it'll differentiate you from other artists out there. But not only that, it's just in order for you to have some type of consistency and to be seen and to have your followers or your listeners resonate with you as an artist, there needs to be something that touches your audience. So creative direction is really important in order for your audience to see who you are as a person or as an artist. And that's really how you will gain your notoriety and gain your following in order to grow your artistry overall as a whole. So creative direction is very important. You can change it at any point in time. It's more of a matter of having a plan behind your creative direction so that you're not just trying things, because it can make you look all over the place as an artist.
Yeah, 100%. Like think of creative direction as like the visual contributor to like what goes on in your head as an artist. Because we all know that like a lot of stuff goes on in here and you might see a lot of things visually when you're creating records or putting concepts together, but it's like making it presentable and digestible to the consumer, like the people that you're essentially trying to push your product to. They need to be able to visually comprehend that. So your creative direction, like Rachel said, can always change. I do think that unless you are completely rebranding yourself, there are pieces of it that should like move into whatever it is that you're creating next. And it could be something very simple, like you choose to have the same neon lights in the background of everything that you're doing, but familiarity is also very important, I find, in creative direction and any visual aspects.
Understood. Wow. Powerful points. Hope everybody's taking notes. This is $1 million worth of game right now. Business plan. Can we touch on the business plan? I know you have already touched on it, Ginger, briefly, but this is part of the branding that a lot of people look over, or like you said, a lot of artists are focused on the creative portion. How, I want to get into the mind of each of you right quick. I want to pick your brain right quick. So how would you go about setting up a business plan? Not without giving all the information, of course, but let's just say a new artist coming up to you, I'm trying to start a business plan. I don't know nothing about anything about a business plan. Where would they start? Well, I know we have Futurepreneur on the table.
Yeah, so Futurepreneur is a great just model to walk you through what the basics of a business plan, what they are. Now, I'm not saying everybody is going to need a business plan because you're not necessarily selling yourself or monetizing yourself yet, right? So but it is a really great tool to understand the steps of establishing yourself and establishing the brand and establishing where you want to be in the market and your demographic and who are you going after, what are your competitors doing. It's just a really great step-by-step process. But the key is like, how are you different? How are you going to stand out? What is your unique selling proposition? But back to the business plan and monetization, you also have to think, am I more than just music? Like, yes, you're going to establish a brand for your music, but there are other opportunities to monetize a lifestyle brand and outside and beyond just the music space, right? So, if we're going to get into social media shortly, but there are other things you can do there. Sorry, I know I'm bouncing, getting out of the business plan, but okay. That business plan, that whole plan of who you are should incorporate more than just the music, if that makes sense.
No, I totally agree. It's important for us to realize that it's not just the talent. Talent is amazing. Talent will get you there, but what's going to keep you there is having a plan of action.
Yeah. And well, I mean, honestly, too, like if we're being honest,
talk to me.
I don't want to say that talent, when I'm about to say what I'm about to say, doesn't mean that talent is not important, but we live in an age where it's like you could be the most talented artist in the world and you could be kept under the tuck because what you're trying to embody needs to be presented in a sellable way. Like you need to make it so that people want to, because there are a ton of talented people out there who might not have, like, I like to use Jasmine Sullivan. I don't know if everyone is familiar with Jasmine Sullivan, but she's been making music for like I want to say at least a decade, if not more. And she's just starting to have that mainstream break, that push into the markets that she wants to be in, because she's incredibly talented. She could sing the house down, but there was something missing from having it be like translatable to the audience and understanding who is Jasmine Sullivan, what message is she sending, what type of artistry is she presenting me with. So talent is amazing. I know a lot of talented people, but your work ethic and making it achievable, even if it's baby steps along the way, is going to get you a lot further.
Yeah. Being genuine, being authentic, pumping it out, get it out.
Consistency. Yeah.
And I think it's important as we talk about branding and creative direction and business plan, we must let all the artists know that it's all about patience too. These things take time. Things take time. Like when we talk about Jasmine Sullivan, it took a decade because she had to live a little life. So don't come, especially in the microwave generation where social media is everything, making everything instantaneous, and it's like everything's happening right now. A lot of people feel pressure, like I gotta have a brand. I gotta let yourself develop as an artist. Know who you are. Ask yourself who you are. And I think that's why the brand Bible is so essential for those type of moments. Like have something that you can zoom out and look at yourself and really find out who you are before and what message you want to, tell the world, because there's so many artists out here. What makes you unique by your message also? And patience. That's what I would say. Anything else before we move on to the next one?
Let's move on because this is a big topic. Let's dive in.
Ginger's ready for this one. She's ready.
She's ready with social media. She's like, let's do it. So part 2, social media. This has changed the game. Social media has made it easier for artists to not only be starving artists, but actually thrive in the industry. I want to start off, I say content creation first because it's so essential. It's such a big part of the game right now, because it's like you said, Rebecca, it's more than just the music. It's also what comes around the music. Who would like to start first with the power of content creation, like discussing the power of content creation?
Go. I think the power of content creation is very underrated, but I also do think it's really important for artists to understand which social platform is for them and how they can maximize on it. Like every social platform is not for you. Your audience is not on every platform. So sometimes putting yourself on 4 or 5 things at once can really spread yourself thin, and you almost do yourself a disservice when you're doing that. You do need to have patience and you do need to be consistent. However, at the same time, you also need to be authentic. And I think we all know this, that if you're selling something that isn't real, if you're translating a message that is not you, it won't be hard or long before others are able to pick up on that. So just always remember that you're being authentic. And also just make sure that you're not putting yourself on too many social platforms. 1, you're spreading yourself thin, and 2, they become difficult to manage. So then you start having little pockets of followers across the board versus growing yourself in maybe 1 or 2 areas before expanding to other social platforms.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, Rachel, the thing with the different platforms is that you can actually go ahead and try them all at the beginning, but they're not all going to stick. And that's, I think, what you meant, right? Like, it's like, try them all because you don't know where your audience is going to be, because every platform has a different audience that kind of goes to those platforms. Like TikTok is a very different audience than Facebook, like TikTok users pretty much don't use Facebook. So you have to figure out, so part of that business plan is also discovering and establishing who your audience is going to be and your demographic and who you're going to sell the content for. And it all goes back to where we're talking about now, about that content creation and trying all the different platforms to see what sticks. And this is where it's beauty, guys. Social media is a low risk environment right now for you. Throw up all different kinds of content all different kinds of content that's just you, music, everything under the sun, under the umbrella. See what sticks and what performs. And like Mahmoud has said, it takes time and it takes patience, and it's not going to happen overnight. But it's a low risk environment. So it is where you can throw everything up, everything you've ever done, your back catalog of content, bring it over to, you know, if you've done TikTok, bring it over to Instagram Reels. If you've done Instagram, bring it over to TikTok. Like, you can repeat that content. You don't have to make new content over and over again. This is your space right now. We are so fortunate to be in this era where we have these low risk opportunities. And, you know, they also, you can engage with your audience. You can find out what they want. You can talk to them. You can do more for them. You can find a new audience. You know, you can meet new people, other people who are just like you, who will have tips and tricks that have worked for them. This is the space. This is the time. This is your opportunity.
Big fact.
100%. And I think another thing too, I'm not sure if either of you said it. My internet kind of cut out on me for a quick second there, but I think a lot of artists feel like they're being annoying when they're posting a lot. And I promise you, you got to get over that, because you're an artist. If you're trying to pitch yourself, sell yourself, you want to get put on a playlist, you want to get, you know, have a meeting with this person. If they go to your page and it's just pictures of you like looking fly in a sick outfit, that's cool, right? Because hopefully that outfit will correlate to your branding overall, but they want to see that you're an artist. They want to see that you're every day, you're like, here's this, maybe you guys didn't hear this snippet, let me post it again. Maybe you guys didn't hear it, let me post. Like, stay consistent with that stuff. I promise you'll get over it. And then eventually you'll work to a point where you don't have to bombard your timeline every day with all this stuff. But it's important to understand that these are some of the like awkward growing pains that you have to hone in on when you're trying to create that visibility. So take
100.
Agreed.
Just like, you know, piggybacking on that, don't be afraid to follow people either, because you need to engage with them. You need to make your digital, you have to create a digital virtual world of friendships and connections and networks. And then, you know what, maybe you'll start talking to somebody who's got 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 followers. Maybe they like your music. Maybe they'll use your track on their next video that, you know, they go viral once a month or whatever. You just don't know. And this is the opportunity. This is the playground. This is the sandbox where nobody's really being judged. Like, it's so low risk. And if it doesn't work out and you fail, guess what? That's a good thing. Failure is how you learn. Make mistakes. This is where you should make them. Take the video down if it's wrong or if it's incorrect or if it doesn't work or whatever. Try it again.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna judge.
No, I agree. And
Easily.
another thing too is that I find, like, just for what you said, Rebecca, in terms of people finding themselves being annoying when they're constantly putting out their work or their artistry, you just think of it this way, and you have to remember, fast food corporations like McDonald's and Subway send you guys deals every week. They're in your mailbox without fail, whether you eat it or not, whether you signed up for it or not. They're in your mailbox every single week. They are offering you a deal. So think about it that way. If they can consistently put out, and they don't have to, McDonald's doesn't have to advertise. If they can consistently do it every single week, you posting one time about your song or event and putting it in the story, or one time on the timeline, and then being disappointed about the return on the result, there wasn't really an investment on the initial planning that went into the post. So you also have to consider it that way. Putting it up over and over again, or just being consistent, it's not annoying. Eventually it will work, and you will curate an audience that is for you.
Wow, I love that point right there.
You're going to annoy the right people trying to put out there. Those aren't the type of people you want, right? So it's literally, Kingsley just said something in the chat too, like, be humble, stay hungry, and lose your ego. Like, lose your ego, because your ego is going to damage everything for you. So.
And in the world of marketing, how many touch points do you need in order for somebody to actually recognize your name eventually down the road? You need a minimum 3.
Yep.
3 touch points before anybody's ever going to recognize. So, or anybody's going to realize, oh, I've heard this song before, or I recognize that name before, or I saw that before. 3 touch points for every piece, everything you're trying to do.
And just imagine, if you're trying to sell something, which you are trying to sell eventually, they have to see it 7 times. So don't be afraid, as what we're saying, what we're discussing right now. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. There's some comments in the chat here. We have somebody that's in marketing too. Kingsley said, humble yourself. Make sure you follow back. I can't stress this enough. We have to approach social media as humans. If you only have 100 comments, Gary Vee has thousands of comments. He said, if you don't have tens of thousands of comments, you should be replying to every comment. Engage in an audience, because if you don't, that's that ego part. You're not going to get nowhere, and there's not going to be no longevity for you. So make sure you humble yourself. You approach this as a human. You engage your audience, because it takes only 1,000 serious fans, 1,000 core fans, 1,000 like strong fans. Have you ever heard the story of the 1,000 fans? It only takes 1,000 fans. Has anybody heard that? It only takes 1,000 strong fans to actually monetize and make money. I'm not going to say it's going to be $1 million right out the gate, but you'll be able to monetize, and it only takes that to make it happen. So
If I may add to that, because monetization on the digital side is my forte, is what we do. And when we're looking at back-end data, what matters most is the engagement rate. So that if you're factoring into building your brand, and I'm going to be a musician, but I can also build this lifestyle brand on the side and maybe make some money, use that money to contribute to making better content, getting it out more, maybe hiring an assistant eventually, engagement rate is the key. Doesn't matter how many followers you have, it's engagement rate. How many people are commenting and liking and sharing your content? Sorry, but that's the truth.
It is. I think we all know, I know the four of us talked about this briefly before, I'm never going to tell an artist what not to do when it comes to social media, but in this very moment in time, do not put all of your eggs into the Instagram basket. It's the algorithm on that app changes every day. I don't even think there is an algorithm anymore. There probably are little things that you can do. I believe Melanie was saying in the chat as well, if you're consistently engaging before you post, these things do help, but there are a multitude of different apps that you can use now. And we were kind of talking about earlier, you can use all of them, but focus on the one that you're noticing is giving you the exactly. And then just recycle everything on the other app so that you have it everywhere, but you're focusing on one.
Absolutely.
I love that. That brings us to the next one, TikTok. The power of TikTok right now. TikTok is running the game right now. YouTube Shorts also, because YouTube is hungry for it. They're giving money left and right. But I would like to dive into TikTok for artists and YouTube Shorts real quick. I know, Ginger, you could probably, I see you shaking your head like you're going. Talk to us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, TikTok is where it's at. TikTok is the only app that is still allowing for organic growth. It is super, again, low risk, super friendly, an all-in space where I think people should be investing a lot of time. I'm seeing really fast growth on TikTok versus a long game. It's a long waiting game for Instagram and YouTube. Instagram Reels are starting to track because they're trying to compete with TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, same thing. YouTube Shorts, so you can't get ad revenue from, you can still in the YouTube long form. But it is an opportunity to grow your audience. So they are pushing YouTube Shorts on a big spectrum. I was just chatting with the YouTube folks not long ago, and they're really trying to push it. So don't be afraid to try that. But again, just reuse that content. If TikTok is working for you, take it from TikTok, same post to Instagram, same post to YouTube Shorts. That's what everybody is doing. Nobody is creating new content for every platform. Just repeat and then find your audience and go with that. But yeah, TikTok, trending sounds. If there's a trending sound that's working really well, remix it or do your own thing to it. Or, you want to add your spin, your artistry to it, remix it, duet it. There's so many tools on TikTok. Go in and spend some time there and see all the things that you can do with it. But yeah, though it's a really great safe space right now, TikTok for artists to put their music out and to gain a following.
Yeah, I think what's cool about TikTok too is that you can promote your music, but it's just a great place to showcase like your authentic personality. I think kind of tying into what I was saying before, I know a lot of artists, some of the ones that I work with personally are like, what do you want me to get on TikTok and start doing dances? I'm like, no, that's not what I want. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. You're seeing one aspect of something that's trending. Take it. You could even put a trending sound on your video, turn it all the way down, do something else on it, but it's still going to feed into that algorithm. So it's like Ginger was saying, take the time to, like, first of all, tailor your For You page to show you what you want to see. It doesn't take that long, I promise you. Sometimes I spend 30 minutes on TikTok liking 4 videos, and then my For You page is just literally basically everything that I just liked. So they're very quick. Like, it's very easy to alter things to fit what you're trying to put out there. And then from there, just take inspiration from it. And you don't have to get on and do those corny little dances. I mean, you can, if it suits you and it works for you, do it, but you don't have to do it forced. Just be yourself. You can do these silly little things that like showcase your personality. And then, 2 videos later, you're promoting a new record that you're going to be releasing and you're playing a snippet of it for us. And like, play that snippet out, because people are going to want to hear it. Like, they're going to be like, what is the sound? I keep hearing it all the time. It's so popular. And then boom, you're like, hey, I'm releasing this record a week, 2 weeks from now. And it's the sound that you've been hearing. You've created that promotion. You're marketing yourself without even really putting forth a huge effort. Like, if we're being honest.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Carl Wolf. I'm sure you've heard of Carl. He's doing a lot on TikTok right now. He's just remixing songs and adding a different kind of production value to it, changing up the words and doing, because what trends on TikTok quite often are like memes and puns, and he's just changing up the words to reflect like his life, something like that. Like, if you go follow him on TikTok, you'll see what I mean. He's doing some really cool things, and they're hitting, and he just started TikTok.
That's amazing. What's his name?
Carl Wolf.
Carl Wolf. I'm gonna write that down. I'll check it out.
Just another thing, if you're not like 100% sure as to what you should do on TikTok, I would just treat it like you would any other app. Like, just go on and explore. You don't even have to do anything yet. You can just go on and explore, search things, go find other people that you feel like you resonate with, and then maybe go from there. It doesn't always have to be anything strategic. You can just go on and you can just browse and you can search and really just take the time to do your research and then figure out how you can introduce yourself on the app as well.
Really good.
That's actually true, because there's a influencer called Prince Donald. He has like a tax agency, like a tax firm. And he said the most of the time, before he even posts any content or creates content with his team, he does research. So what you're saying is very valid, because just going down that explore, like Ginger said, looking for trending sounds, do your research, see what's going on, spend that time, invest that time just looking at the platform. So that way you can see exactly how, like Rachel said, you post content that's on the app, and then you post content that's about your music. So that way it's not just, oh, I'm selling you my music, I'm selling my, no, people see your personality and the music, because now it's all about lifestyle. It's more than music, it's about lifestyle. Yep. So we're exactly at 27 minutes. So before we would you guys like to talk about authenticity and consistency when it comes to posting content briefly?
Yeah, I think I'd like to talk about authenticity and consistency as a whole, but yes, specifically as it pertains to content. I know it's very easy in today's society. I think, Ginger, you're saying we're in a great era of.
Oh no, she's frozen.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm cutting.
Yeah,
did I cut out there?
Yeah,
it's okay. I stopped talking because I saw no one's faces was moving. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to keep talking because they're going to but what I was just saying was, like, social media is like a double-edged sword. There's a lot of positive things that come with it, but there's a lot of stuff that's in your face that can force you to present like a certain image that doesn't align with you. So like, that's why taking time to know yourself, creating those brand Bibles, like all those things that might seem so small, but they're actually very important to you figuring out who you are, because artist development is a lost art. in this industry, but I could go on about that for hours. I won't. I won't do that. But when you know yourself, like as an artist, you're always going to be discovering yourself. That is okay. Like it's important that you're continuously rediscovering things, but you have to understand the foundation of what makes you you when it comes to your sound, when it comes to your image, when it comes to all of that stuff. That's how you create the most authentic you. Because then if you're doing something and a month, 2 months from now, you don't like it, it's not like you were just trying to jump on the hype of a moment because you thought maybe it was going to get you an extra 5,000 followers or a couple extra listeners a month. Like, again, longevity, like authenticity and consistency. It's a long game. I'll tell you that, but that's where you create the longevity for yourself. Because we live in an age where you could go viral off of a record that, to be honest with you, is probably not that great. I know music is subjective, but you can hear the lack of effort in it, but it's just going crazy because there's numbers attached to it. There's the virility is attached to it. People want it because it's hype. So it's important as much as you possibly can to know yourself, because when you do, it translates through to what you create. That fluidity just creates itself.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. I think that's so important. Ginger, Rachel, before we move on.
I think when it comes to authenticity and consistency, it is important, but also if you're an artist, your authentic self may not necessarily be what or who you are as an artist. Some people have a persona and separate that from themselves as a person. So just make sure if that's who you are as an artist, that there is a distinct differentiation so that it's not confusing for the consumer or for your audience or your followers or your listeners, because you want to make sure that you're giving them you as an artist, because sometimes you as an artist is not necessarily you as a person.
Very
Yeah, really good point. And then the only other thing that I would add is just to remember at the back of your mind when you're establishing your brand and you're trying to like you're being authentic to yourself, you also have to just remind yourself, how are you different? And you have to keep that in the back of your mind, because you need to have, you got to have some sort of star quality to be discovered. On social media, it's a bit different. Like I said, it's like fair game for anyone, but you have to keep reminding yourself, how am I different? What is my USP? What am I bringing to the table that might be a bit different than this person or what this person is doing? You have to continue to think that I have to add value to this space, to the conversation. And that's all back to your personal brand and how the starting point. You don't get to the finish line without the starting point, right? So
gotta know where you're going. Part 3, the power of networking. Now this, we want you always want to save the best for last. Networking is so important because just growing up in Miami, I've seen people have a conversation one day and their life changed the next day. Just like having two sides of the spectrum, you see people, their lives could change just by having a conversation with the right people. So I want to touch on the power of networking. We briefly talked about this in our meeting. I'm going to start with Gab, the Gab group, Gab Communications. You said take advantage of the internet. So emphasize or elaborate on that for us, please.
Yeah, so let me be really quick because I thought Rachel and Rebecca had just the best points for networking. But for me, I think what the pandemic has done and what has allowed us to do, and I know we want to put the pandemic in our rearview mirror, but it has opened up a world of opportunity in terms of the distance between you and a decision maker is so small now. So take advantage of the internet, network online, network on LinkedIn, network on social media, network. You meet somebody, send them an email or set up a video call. Or can I get 10 minutes of your time at 6 a.m. tomorrow before your day starts? Use the internet to your advantage, because now we know we can do these virtual panels and we can have these virtual meetings, and we don't need an hour of transit time to get to a 2-hour meeting and an hour transit time back. That's 4 hours. That's half your day. You know, that used to be the day. We don't need that anymore. We can have 8 networking sessions in 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like, and you don't need a ton of time. You just need to show face to name and let them 3 touch points, 3 contact points, email, meet, follow up. Then they'll remember you.
I hope y'all wrote that down. Email, meet, follow up. Free game, right? It's $1 million worth of game. Yeah. All right. So
I think that feeds right into Rebecca's point.
Yep. B-side agency. You spoke about relationships. And Rebecca, I know you've been doing this for a while. I've seen you moving with Lonely Boy, amazing manager. Tell us about the power of relationships, Rebecca.
I would love to. First, I just want to comment. Byron just made a comment, and I was actually just about to say Byron is really good at the whole introduction, email, follow up. I remember the first time that I had a conversation with him, maybe 3 days later, there was just a follow up, just a general check-in. And I think he still manages to do that. So Byron, thank you. You're a great example for that.
Yes.
But yeah, relationships. I mean, it sounds so cliche a lot of the time. But one thing I heard from somebody, Justice, he is the head of A&R at Love Renaissance. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that. They're very R&B dominant label management group. They're really doing a lot right now. And I was on a panel with him once, and he said, we're all playing a human game. And I think it's very easy for people in this industry to think that they have to adopt industry language and like move to people like they're this prestigious, ego-driven type of, you know, human. But the reality is, most of the times, the way you're going to get wherever it is you're trying to go, whether you're trying to, you know, get a record deal, you're trying to, you know, get brand partnerships, whatever the case is, when you move tying back to authenticity and understanding that you're talking to another human being who, you know, 9 times out of 10 is doing this for the love of the industry, the music, the passion behind it as well. When you approach things like you're just talking to another human being, the same way we're having an open dialogue right now, we're not too like worried about, oh, well, what's going to come out of this? Like, these are things you want to have in the back of your mind. But when you treat people like you just want to have an authentic conversation with them, I promise you, it's going to take you so much further. Anything I've ever been able to accomplish with myself in my career, or anybody that I've worked with, has literally come from just genuine relationships. Like knowing that I understand what value I can bring to you, what value you can bring to me. And you're gonna have, you know, people in your network or relationships with people where you might not get along or have the same interests, but you understand that like you can do something for me and I can do something for you, and I believe in it. So you don't have to go through all the like fake, phony, you don't have to do that. You really just have to know who you're talking to, know yourself first and foremost, obviously, but nurture those relationships. Like figure out what common interests you have. Like whether it's golfing, you guys both like golfing, you both like Marvel, like just talk about it, because it just sets, again, that fluidity to leading into other conversations. So just understand you're talking to humans. We're not robots. We all have lives. We care about things the same way, you know, quote unquote, regular human beings do. And I don't like to say regular, non-regular, but you guys know what I mean. Like,
Definitely.
you know, exactly.
Is humanizing the experience, and you hit it on the head right there.
How can we collaborate? How can we help each other grow? Like, what can we do for one another, you know?
Yep. You got to remember, this is an industry, and it's a very small industry. So all about helping each other, because that's rise. I'm Haitian, so I always say union fait la force. Unity makes strength. The stronger together. The more we put our heads together, the farther we'll go. Rachel.
And one more thing too. One more thing. Sorry, before we go to Rachel. Sorry, one more thing. I'm gonna bring it back to ego again. Don't always try to network up. Like if you know, like for example, I know a couple people. I've been lucky enough to meet or come across people, whether it's in person or on socials, who are like the head of what they do. You know what I mean? Like a head of A&R here or whatever the case is. Sometimes that's not where you want to go. Understand that like networking across and like helping people foster and grow things together will do a lot more for you, again, more often. I'm not saying it never works out when you go to the highest, but be strategic, you know?
Exactly.
Definitely agree. I think in this case, I just like make sure your networking is purposeful. Because at the end of the day, like you don't necessarily want to come across like you're taking something from someone or trying to take something from someone or network your way up. Make sure you always have something to offer, at least one thing, like just one thing to offer, even if it's your time, even if it's like a bit of your expertise where you feel like you might be able to assist the other person. Make sure you always have something to offer, or it looks like you're taking something from someone almost. But also just have purposeful networking. What is it that you want to do and where is it that you want to go? Sometimes I ask clients, how much money is it that you want to make? Because your network is your net worth. So if you're just looking to stay within, you know, a certain bracket, you might actually be able to do that on your own and continuing networking that way. But if you're looking to really scale up and you're looking to get into like making 500 plus thousand with your artistry, you need a team. And in order to do that, you have to network. You can always get to your first 100,000 by yourself. That is very achievable. But to get to your first million, you require a team. And the bigger you want to go, the more you're going to have to scale up, which means the more you're going to have to network and meet people in order to get you to where you want to go.
Exactly. And thank you so much for that, Rachel. With the 5 minutes we have left on the 45 minutes that we have to discuss, because this is networking right here, right? This is networking. So I want to start with Rachel. I want you to let the audience know about CD by Cindy. This is networking, and you can probably be help to anybody in the room. So let's go one by one and discuss. Tell us about CD by Cindy.
For sure. CD by Sunday is a creative agency. I offer creative direction, personal shopping, styling, as well as creative consulting. So it's really an agency to serve local brands and local artists within the Ottawa community and to just see how we can take your artistry and grow it, or maybe restart it from scratch or help you with a rebrand.
Perfect. Rebecca?
Yeah.
Eastside?
So I actually just launched an agency. What day is it? Last week, the beginning of last week. Sorry, guys. It's been a long month. I actually just launched a consulting agency last week called B-Side. It is primarily for artists and creatives. The idea behind it is a focus on consulting. So whether that's, you know, you have a couple questions, you don't necessarily feel like you need full-time management, you just need someone to sort of bounce ideas off of, help you get, you know, the wheels on what you're creating. Project management. So whether that be for, you know, like an album, EP, single you're putting out, you're creating a podcast, any kind of creative lane where I can help manage. Eventually, I will be taking on full-time clients to manage, but right now I'm very content with my R&B superstar, Lonely Boy. So he's the only full-time client on the agency. But I also do things like design assets. So like EPKs, media kits, press releases, anything like that that you might need, and A&R services. So there's a couple of people in the room who I've actually collaborated with and who I am currently working with. So you know who you are. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you. A lot of people supported me before it launched, so I'm feeling very grateful. But yes, that is what I do.
Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Clap it up for you, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Ginger, talk to us.
So Gap Group is actually a group of companies. So we have a PR division. We do a lot of entertainment PR. So we represent a lot of like big TV shows in Canada. So Big Brother, Family Feud, Top Chef Canada, you know. And we have a talent agency. So our agency represents talent, hosts, reality talent, chefs, experts. We've got quite a few, you know, like TikTok celebs. We represent exclusively Canadian talent. My team is in Toronto. I'm in Ottawa. And we also have a ventures arm. So we have, so we invest in client companies. So when they're launching new businesses, we invest. If we think that the business has legs, we'll invest in it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would say for You guys seem very busy, so thank you so much for taking time out your busy schedules to give this information and share information. Rachel also makes the best juices, and shout out Kingsley. Kingsley is blackmarket.ca. Amazing, another amazing woman in this community, another amazing leader. Thank you for joining us, Kingsley.
Shout out to Kingsley for real. Shout out.
Yeah, thank you.
Perfect. So how much do we have? The last 15? 45. Right on time. I'm always on 44. It's all love. All right, so we'll get into questions. Anybody in the room want to ask some questions? This is your time to shine and to be informed. Give me a second. Okay. Let's go. Thank you, Quest. Thank you. Shout out to Quest in the house too. One of our partners and collaborators. Any questions in the room? Don't be shy. We're just humans here living the human experience in the music industry. So don't be shy. There's no dumb questions. Melanie, how important is buying ads on socials?
That's a good question.
To boost your own content, Melanie? Like your own personal content?
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, with the algorithm and everything that's happening right now and how, when it started on Facebook, you were able to post something and now people aren't seeing it. Same goes, I think, with Instagram to a certain degree. I think the reels are helping get a lot of action going. But in terms of like you've got a show or you're going to a town that you haven't been to and you want to help develop that market, how important is it to invest money? I know you guys were talking a lot about how social media can be a bit of an experiment and you can, connect with people that way. But when you have, when you're trying to sell tickets kind of thing, when you're trying to get some revenue coming back, how important is it? Or is it important at all to invest money, or is it a waste?
I don't think it's ever a waste. I think it's a matter of understanding what you actually have the means to do. And if you don't have the means to put a lot of money, I mean, there are a ton of realistic, you could put $10 like into an ad and it could actually do something for you. So it really depends on like where you're at, what type of visibility you're trying to get, and what do you have to work with? Like what budget do you have? Because you could not do it. It would help you. Like, I would never say that it's a waste. I think it really depends on what's within your limits and like, how far are you trying to go? Because you could more often than not get the same results if you're consistently posting, or if you're, taking a couple extra steps to like promote within a certain group. It just takes a little bit more research if you're not going to put money behind ads, I would say, in my opinion.
Agreed.
There's also different kind of ads. So
Yeah.
it depends. There's boosting and then there's paid ads. So boosting, you won't really generate a lot from it. So we tend to say steer clear. It's there. They want your money because they're making lots of money off of it, but it's not going to give you anything. A paid ad won't necessarily come from your account, but it will appear across multiple platforms. You can tailor your audience so specifically to who you want to attract, and you can drive there's always going to be some sort of call to action, and that call to action could be profile visits or website visits, and maybe profile visits isn't necessarily what you're trying to achieve. Maybe you're trying to achieve ticket sales, and if it's ticket sales, you want to drive them direct to that website. So there's different kinds of ads. So that it's very different. Boosting versus paid ads.
Yep. I always say self-education is self-preservation. So there's a wealth of information online. Facebook has courses, Google has courses. So if you can inform yourself, that can help you become an independent powerhouse. But the next question is, we have another question right here from Rog McSpurin. I don't know if I'm saying your name right. Any examples of the brand Bible online?
Honestly, I haven't seen very many examples. I would be happy to, I don't know if I don't have my example on this computer, but basically just think of it like, a traditional vision board where you're literally grouping a bunch of images together on like a PDF page. And that might represent what you're looking for. I know a lot of people create vision boards for the year, like yearly goals. So they'll put images that represent what they're working towards. It's the same kind of concept, but with the brand Bible, you want to like break down each page. First page will have a focus on fonts. So you'll just go to like Pinterest, wherever you can get free images that represent the fonts that you want. The next page is film. The next page is, you know, colorways. The next page, just like continue that until you feel like you've covered your bases. Because the beautiful thing about a brand Bible is like, there's no right or wrong way to make it. You want to make it as easily digestible for yourself, first and foremost, as possible. And most of the time, if you're sending it to other people, it's going to be other creatives. So they're going to understand, they're going to look at it and they're going to know right away kind of what it is that you're trying to put together. So I haven't seen any like textbook examples of a brand Bible, but just consider it like a multi-page vision board. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. Kingsley has a question. Social media and online aside, what are some traditional strategies that you suggest? Take it.
Well, okay, let me start because I started out in this world as a publicist, which was extremely traditional. And boy, has that changed. Okay, so if we're talking traditional strategies, you mean like, I think you mean like performing and getting to know your local audience and, you know, and meeting them, meet and greets and doing, for me, for Ottawa, I'm meeting so many artists and talent here because it's such a local and great community that it's inspiring. And I find Ottawa very supportive for other Ottawa artists. So I think that's probably traditional. In terms of PR, I would probably say you're not going to get anything because PR is pay to play now. So unless you have money to spend, they're not going to do anything. Yeah, it's unfortunately that's just the name of the game. Sometimes you'll see a morning show decide, oh, we're going to do a Friday performance every week. That's an opportunity you could hop onto, but in terms of like the traditional PR route, kind of doesn't exist so much anymore for up and coming artists, unfortunately. I'm sorry, but that's the truth.
Hey, better to be honest.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You took the words right out of my mouth.
For social media and online aside, also, one thing I would just say is like go outside and get to know your city. It's really easy. Like go online. I know that's a part of online, but like research events and go outside and go alone. There's a lot more people that will approach you if you go alone. Sometimes it can be scary, sometimes it can be weird, but if it's really for you and for your artistry and you're really looking to meet new people, the best way to do it is by yourself. People will approach you a lot more if you're by yourself, and it'll be a lot easier to have a conversation and you'll get more out of your networking that way. And another suggestion is sometimes taking trips. If you feel like you're developing an audience in Montreal or Toronto or New York or Florida, take a trip and go out there and see what's out there and see who you can network with and see how you can meet others that are similar to you or your artistry that you feel like you can build with. Sometimes taking a trip and doing it in person instead of doing the whole online, I'm going to find you on social media. It's a lot more personable and they'll remember you that way.
Yeah. AKA, don't be afraid to be outside.
And if you don't know, but I don't know if everybody knows here in Ottawa, but School Night, which is where, you know, Billie Eilish was discovered, they launched in Toronto. If you want to contact, lots of contacts for School Night in Toronto. So
I might message you for that, Ginger. I didn't know.
Yeah, me too.
So School Night's great. Once a month, they've got about 3 or 4 acts at the Drake Hotel, and all of the A&R folks in Toronto come out.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to Toronto.
Yeah, they just recently launched. I want to say it hasn't even been a year. They launched during the pandemic.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And School Night is like a big deal in LA.
Okay. So we have questions from KJ. As far as programs, what programs can you suggest are accessible online and budget friendly?
Oh my gosh, there's a ton. When you say online, are you looking specifically within this region, or are you talking as a whole? Because I would have to like write you a list.
We actually have the resources after. Oh
No,
my
we can do that. If
Yeah.
that's okay, like with OMIC, I would be happy to put together, like maybe the three of us can put together just a list of resources, and then anybody who wants access to it that was here today, we can email it or something.
Perfect. We'll
That would
have
be
it.
super. Thank you.
Yeah. We have Maya Spoken in the house. Shout out to Maya. Any tips on artists on booking performance outside of the city? How do you build those connections to receive those opportunities? That's a very good
question.
If you're, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead, Rachel.
I was just gonna say, if you've booked something out of the city, the best way to do it is to play it off of what you've booked. So if you know that you have to be somewhere, I don't know, on September 5th, I would probably start like 30 days prior, start looking at other venues that are around that venue, see what they offer. Do they have an open mic night? Do they have something that's going to be coming up where you could perform? Start looking at podcasts in the area. Do you want to sit down and do an interview and talk about yourself and talk about your artistry or talk about you as a creative? Start looking at local radio that's in the area. Look at anything that's almost easy to penetrate, to start opening a little more of a door for yourself. Because even if they tell you no, at least you've put yourself out there enough to have the conversation with somebody in the other city that you're trying to build upon.
Yeah, open mic. Don't sleep on open mics. Open mics are still to this day arguably the best thing that you can do. Another thing too, Rachel, something that you just said that also was like when you're looking into these places that you're going, you're looking into like other acts that might perform in these areas, like start networking from time. And again, don't necessarily do it with the intent of something like immediately coming out of it for the time that you're there, but like look into it, understand how these people are fostering their own growth. And tying back into what we were saying before about PR, like I know PR is not free, but if you know you're trying to get visibility in a certain area, it might be worth hiring a PR in that specific region who can start to get you radio play and all that stuff so that you can create enough of an audience to do a show there. So on and so forth.
I love that.
I'm going to step in here, you guys, if you don't mind. Thank you so much this has been like so many good nuggets of info. I'm just going to pop in and say that we're going to do a panel on touring in October. Right now we're looking at October 17th, which is a Monday, probably at 5 p.m. So mark that down. I really encourage anyone who is not signed up to our newsletter, the OMIC newsletter, to do so. I just popped that in the chat there for Maya Spoken. It's ottawamike.com/newsletter, and I'll pop it in there again so everybody can see it. But that's where you'll get like first dibs and information on what's going on in terms of more panels, professional development stuff happening, also networking. We're starting to do a monthly meetup, which is really fun. Last month we did our first one, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go because that's the nature of the beast when you're in COVID times and running things for the first time. But 27 people showed up. And so you kind of get a vibe of what OMIC is doing. And I feel like if we're growing from almost 30 people, it's going to start popping off real soon. And a lot of really beautiful connections were made during that session. So please do come out and join us. Mahmousa, that was awesome. Well done.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I couldn't have done it without the ladies. I mean, amazing. They knew exactly what to say.
So good. Thank you everyone for being here. If what we're going to do with these, I have this great vision for our member portal to eventually be like a masterclass, choose your own adventure kind of thing for members only. But in the meantime, if you want to refer back to this video, it is recorded. We're going to put it on the website on our IMB page. And you can also check in the next couple of days, because I'm going to put all the references and resources that everybody was talking about today on that page as well. So that's ottawamike.com/IMB, I believe.
Also,
Rebecca, yeah.
I just want to say one more thing before we log off. Rachel and I both work for an incredible company as well, Arts Network. And in October, we're putting together a Creative Continuum conference. And the conference is going to be super insightful for a wide range. Like it's a multidisciplinary kind of art spectrum that we're looking at this year. So visual arts, music, fashion, all those types of things. So if anyone here is interested, you can check it out on the Arts Network Instagram page. There's actually a Creative Continuum Instagram that I believe was created as well. So
Creative Continuum. Please write that down and make sure you attend.
lots of good speakers will be there too. I won't expose, but
Yes.
yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Jen. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Rachel. Melanie, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And Byron, for putting this together. Appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, Byron. Thanks, Ontario Creates. Thanks to the city of Ottawa. Yeah, that's a wrap for today. Have a really great week. What great way to start it all off. I hope everybody was inspired. I sure am. Si vous êtes francophone puis vous êtes comme hey, pourquoi que ça se passe juste en anglais puis pas en français, ben je te le promets que le mois prochain on va avoir une session en français. So don't freak out. It's all happening bilingually. So yeah, have a good week, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you
Bye.
soon.
Guys, nice to see you all.
Peace.
Ciao.
Bye.